Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. Thank you very much for visiting today and clicking on the link. I hope everybody is doing well and staying safe. We're on F1 2020, the Codemasters game on PlayStation 4, and as you can see, we're starting straight from the grid. The reason being is that I binned it in qualifying fairly early on at that first main chicane. I cut the corner, and as I cut the corner, I then lost control of the car and slammed it into the barrier. So, yeah, didn't end well at all. So we're just going to go straight into the race. I won't waste your time in showing you that. And we've got 11 people in the lobby on the grid. Lights are out, we're off. And we are underway, and as you can see, we are 11th out of 11th, and now we're just going to see the cars in front of us and try and find a little way through as we drop down the inside of Rudy Finetto, and you can see there's a spin round by the Proxos there, and we filter in behind Balotelli, but we do have Rudy right up our backside. You've always got to be careful going up Eau Rouge on this first corner before your tyres are really up to temperature. It's very easy to lose control of the car, and as you can see in front there's plenty of weaving going on and everybody's trying to stay in the slipstream. It's like a snake of cars riding up the long straight, and we come into this twisty section here towards the end of sector 1, and we take it quite well and get right up the gearbox of Balotelli, who's quickly got into AI. Can we look up the inside? Oh, we do. He just bails out and lets us through. Actually, he probably could have chopped us off, but we do manage to squeeze through. And as you can see, there's some debris flying, some dust flying. The three cars in front, Hamad, Hassan, Matt Plays, and one other having a bit of a scrap. But we get up behind Hamad, Hassan, and manage to dip round the outside. And we just slow the car down. He's still there, but now we do manage to make it stick. Do we? No, we get caught on the way of the exit, and Hamad finds a little bit of space down the outside and squeezes through it. Fair play to him, good driving. And as we come through to the last sector of this lap, it's been a fairly eventful opening lap. We've managed to get up into 8th place from 11. You can see the two in front of us, Matt Plays and Hamad King, are still going neck and neck, side by side, tie to tie, but Matt Plays decides that he needs to come into the pits. It must have been him that we saw a bit of debris flying off the car when the three in front were scrapping, and so he pulls into the pits to get himself a new wing. I don't know if anybody else has pitted. I don't think they have, in which case that's going to leave him way behind the rest of us and out of this race. And we come up Eau Rouge, we can take it flat this time with the warmer tyres. Suffering from a little bit of dirty air from Hamad, but not too much. We've got the slipstream, and Balotelli is right behind us as well, and he's going to look up the inside. We're not going to be close enough to make a move. We just slow down early and make sure we hold that inside line so that we can squeeze him back out and get the elbows out as we come out of the section. And as you can see, we've done that there, and he's dropped down a little way behind us due to having his line compromised. And in defending, we've also lost a little bit of time to Hamad King Hassan, but we set a green first sector. That's not really much of an achievement because we started off with the grid on the last lap, so must remember that. You should always set a green sector in sector 1 on lap 2, unless you have an accident. So we are still chasing, but we do set a green sector 2 as well, which is good, and we are slowly falling further behind down the straights, but we do seem to be able to creep back up behind him in the corners. So maybe we've got a bit more downforce than he has. Maybe he's gone for full whack on the top speed, but you can see the three cars there starting to scrap. They are still 1 for 1 in crocodile file, but it looks like it could get a bit hairy up there. And we look behind, we've got Balotelli again looking at the back of our car. Is he going to try and dip it up the inside? He does, so we leave him the space and he just squeezes us out. And can we get the power down earlier? We can't. We lose that position to Balotelli, who currently has AI written next to him, but he's very, very quick for an AI. The AI is usually slow right down, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there as we get a warning for exceeding the track limits. But no big issue in letting Balotelli through there, because we can just use a DRS to fly straight back past him. That was in my thoughts as I let him go through. I would have wanted to give him the space, but he got very aggressive on the inside there. I didn't really think that was on, to be fair. I didn't expect him to go for that at all because we had got a good car length ahead, but he's made a bit of a dive bomb, made it work. It looks like what he's doing is he's putting the car in control of the AI until I get near him, or he gets near me, and then he's taking control to deal with us in the corners. I mean, never really thought that was an option because I thought you'd be slower under the AI, and it does seem a little bit, you know, cheeky. It's only a five lap race, for fuck's sake. You know, if you can't be bothered to drive for 5 laps, then how much do you really want to play this game? You know, maybe he's busy, I don't know. Maybe he's working, but it just seems like an odd way to play. But now you can see he's gone back to an AI because he's dropped back off of a Polycan. So he's gone back to the AI while he's on his own. But you'll see here that as we start to close back up on him, once we get near enough to make a pass, there you go, switches it off. And he's back in control as we come out of this corner. And you can see there, he's just lost the back end slightly. We get the DRS open. And we're going to have a better drive out of here. He's squeezing us right to the left-hand side. He doesn't really want to leave us any space whatsoever. He didn't leave us a whole car width there. We had 2 wheels on the grass. And holds onto the lead for himself. Not the lead, but out of the 2 of us, this little race that's going on. Holds on to 7th as we probably get a warning for cutting the corner there, I'd have thought. Yep. He goes back into his AI mode. Now we go DRS. As you can see, we're going to get closer, 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 closer. Dip on the inside. Still in AI mode, because he knows that we're going to go past him there. And we just get a bit keen on the inside, but fortunately don't pick up any sort of warning. We're a little bit late, wide out of there, and now we've got Adolfi. Oh, and we get a bit heavy on the curb, and we almost lose the car and put it into the wall there. We had to put a bit of counter steering on and just come off the accelerator a moment, try and get the grip again. But as you can see, as we come around the long left-hander, we go a little bit wide as we get caught out by the dirty air by Adolfi, and we also probably don't turn in quite at the right time, but we are closing in on him. But Balotelli also hasn't left us alone. He is still on our tail as Adolfi just gets a couple of wheels onto the dust, and we chase him down this long back straight with the kink, and we are getting closer and closer and bringing that delta down. We do seem to have a bit more power and a bit more straight line speed than the car in front of us, so we get slowed down for the bus stop chicane, trying to just make sure that we can get a decent exit and not lose a back end, because it is a bit slippery when you try and exit that corner. But as Jeff just mentions there, we're now on the final lap of the race. It's gone pretty quickly, and we're in behind the Dauphin. We just want to make sure that we're within the DRS zone when we come up Eau Rouge. At the moment it is 700ths of a second, so we should be within it. We take a little dip out of the accelerator, but it's not going to be enough to fall out of that second, so we put the DRS into engagement. We have rich mix on, we have overtake on, but we're still a bit of a distance behind Adolfi, and we can't get near enough to him to try and make a move. And we find ourselves again on the back of his gearbox as we cut the corner a little bit there. A bit lucky not to get a penalty really of a couple of seconds, just to try and get as close to Adolfi as we can. And it has worked, and he goes a little bit wide out of the corner, gets on the curb, and again he goes wide, we follow him. We both get a warning, exceeded track limit message there. I'd have thought, I certainly did. And he goes very, very wide through the long left-hander. We go a little bit wide, but he goes very wide, and we're even closer to him now than we were before. We are just under 400ths of a second. Make that 3 as we get closer and closer and closer through this middle sector here, where we've got some good downforce, and the car seems to be feeling pretty good. It's just a shame that the guy behind the wheel can't really drive, and he goes very wide, Adolfi there, and possibly loses a bit more time as we still bring that delta down. Closing, closing, closing. It's like Joe Biden and an underage female. We're closing in on behind, and then can we make it down the left-hand side as we come into the last couple of corners at the bus stop chicane? We have to leave him the room. He chops us off, and that will be that. He gets the car just in front of us. He won that battle in the end. A thoroughly enjoyable race nonetheless. We've got up to 7th place from down in 11th where we started, and that was a real lot of fun. That was a good race, nice and clean in the main. And it's 7th place for us. It's Titan Slayer who wins the race, so congratulations to him. And Hamad King Hassan, who we saw a bit of on the race, wins Driver of the Day. So again, congratulations to him. Now, obviously, the last video that I put up was Belgium and Austria. So we have Belgium out of the way. We're getting a few races in Spa at the moment. As we see the 3 guys up on the podium, I think that was an American. I think that was an American flag that I saw at the top of the steps there, which you don't see too often. Fair play to our friends across the pond. It's all kicking off over there at the moment in America. But yeah, fair play to him. And we get some more points towards some more cosmetic stuff that we don't really need. And yep, just confirmation that Titan Slayer is American. And so we're going to stick with it and skip into the next race. We'll drop into qualifying, see how we get on in race 2. And as you can see, yep, this, you haven't clicked on the same video twice. We've got Austria again, so Belgium, Austria in a row, 2 videos in a row. And again, can we make it round in qualifying without picking up a penalty? That is what we are here to see. Can we get ourselves qualified fairly high up the grid, give ourselves half a chance in this race? Bit of a mixed bag for me, Austria. I do really enjoy the track. I do almost always bin it in qualifying, trying to push it too hard and get a track exceed limit warning, get disqualified or what have you. And sometimes the race can either go very well for me or very bad for me. It's high on downforce, lots of full throttle, fast track, short track, 2 or 3 good overtaking opportunities, realistically, in all of which more or less in the first sector, bar a mistake. But as you can see here, we go a little bit wide, but we don't go wide enough to pick up a disqualification. So, happy days. And as you can see by how quickly qualifying ended there, despite it not being as well as I possibly could have done, it's still a very decent lap that has us in 2nd place. So, that's a nice result here at Austria in qualifying. Of course, the job isn't even so much as half done yet, because it is just a place on the podium, but it does give us half a chance to get away from the pack. As you can see, we've got a Polican on the front, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Papa Samic and Titan Slayer as the 2 cars in behind us as well, so a couple of American guys. And it'll be interesting to see how we can get on. I think the pace at the front in Belgium is majority the same group of players or drivers. Seems to be fairly good. Obviously I was stuck back, I was held back a little bit in the pack, not really up there with the quickest drivers to begin with, but now we have a chance to see what we're like for pace. Of course, the problem with Austria is that there could be 3 or 4 drivers in this lobby quicker than me that all got themselves disqualified, so you know, by the time we get to lap 2 we could be down several positions. But let's not be, you know, let's not be negative. Let's see how we can get on. Let's see if we can get away from the pack to begin with, and then once you've done that, then you know, you give yourself half a chance if you're out of the DRS zone when you get into lap 3. So let's see how, we can get on as we go to 4 and 5 red lights. They go out, we're off, and we slip in behind Polican and just a little bit wider of him to try and find a good line through this corner. We leave plenty of space up on the inside and actually missed the corner a little bit, and Polican I think must have cut the corner because he then slowed down to let me through, but in doing so he's let Titan Slayer and Dark Milky through as well, or Dark Mickey possibly. So that's not worked out too well for him in the end. It's worked out alright for us because we are in 1st place as Jeff congratulates us for a nice start, and he's just dived down the inside there. I didn't really think the space was there for the Titan Slayer. He's come from a long way back And well, it's not worked out well for him, look, because he's no longer even in the top 5. And we're fortunately, as you can see there on the right hand side, I was just checking for any damage to the wing because there was some contact made, but he must have hit my tyres. Talking of my tyres, they're extremely hot on this first lap. Brick yellow. I know this track can push the tyre temperatures up and ask a lot of them. It's high on tyre wear as well, being very fast and plenty of corners. As we set the fastest lap, of course, having started in first and now being in second as we cross the line to enter lap 2. And Apolican is not going to just let us stroll away with this, as we're going to rich mix and use some overtake and put the car in the middle of the track and brake and turn into the hairpin and make sure we have the line as we come out. But Apolican is still right on our wing as we squeeze him a little bit to the left, just daring him. Do you want to come up that side or not? He doesn't fancy it. I can't say I really blame him. He does give us a little nudge in the back, he may have noticed there, but he's still right there. He couldn't be any closer to me, really. He's 0.2 of a second behind me, and honestly, he's so close. We set 2 purple sectors, surprisingly, because he's so close to us. But yeah, if he was much closer, then the risk there is if I make a little mistake, he's going to hit me. He's going to hit me. He hasn't got time to react, and you know, it's not unreasonable to expect someone like me to make a mistake. So despite setting 2 purples and 1 green, we lose the fastest lap. It was taken by Hamad King Hassan at first, but now he's lost it as well. I don't quite know who's got it at the moment. I'm guessing someone that had an accident. It was possibly Titan Slayer, who had an accident with me, who's gone in, changed his wing, got new tyres whilst he's there, and will probably continue to set the fastest laps whilst he's in clean air. And we still set green first sector, so that's good. And we're just holding these guys behind us at the moment. They're not being caused too many great issues, but of course, being on lap 3 now, we do have a couple more laps to go with the DRS, and that's where we're going to have problems, is up the long straight and into the hairpin, or the tight right hander. It's not exactly a hairpin, and when we come out of that, into the next longer right corner as well, where we made some contact with Titan Slayer. Odd to see him on this game. I'd have expected to see him on Titanfall, another favourite of mine. Check out my Titanfall 2 review and a little chat about potential whispers of Titanfall 3 being in development and what they could bring to the party as well. I'll leave a tile at the end of the video for you to go and click on that if you're so inclined. But for now, we're still just holding on to this first place. We've actually built a little bit of a gap to Hamad King Hassan, half a second. Apolican and he were both very much right up my back side previously, but it looks like they've been involved in a little altercation or what have you. Now Apolican is dropping right down, actually, the order. He's around 3 seconds behind me. And Dusky 98. Now, we go very, very wide and pick up a 2-second time penalty. And that is frustrating, because I only had 1 more lap to go and I made a mistake cutting the corner there first of all, and then I found myself, because of the way that I entered the corner, going extremely wide on the way out. But we let Hassad King up the inside, and then we're going to go and look and see if we can do it, and we just go into the back of him. That was a bit awkward, and he does exactly what we did, but we're going to try to switch back. Can we do it? Can we get the power down quickly enough? We go down at first gear in order to try and get some extra little bit of speed, but it doesn't work, and Hamad Hassan has pulled away, and now we are out of any real overtaking positions, and we can only hope that he makes a mistake if we want to try and retain this lead. However, we are now also looking at the fact that Dusky is 2 seconds behind. We have a 2-second time penalty. If we could stretch that to 2 seconds, then we'll finish in second place. But the further we go on throughout the lap, it looks like he's closing, and he has got the fastest lap of the race as well. So he's quicker than me, and he's not going to slow down, and it's 1.5 seconds just under by the time we get to the line, which means we are going to be down in third place. So a real shame there a real shame. If I hadn't made that mistake on the final corner and got myself a 2-second time penalty and gone wide and lost a load of time anyway, without the penalty, then potentially we could have won that, but no such joy, I'm afraid. It's no one's fault but my own. I just entered the corner a bit too early, got a bit keen on the turn-in, and Hamad King Hassan wins driver of the day. There we are on the podium in 3rd place. As they celebrate. There's a couple of British flags there. I'm not quite sure where 2nd place. Italian, maybe. I don't know. What's our rating? Has stayed the same. Again, we were fairly clean, but we're still going to remain thoroughly in the dredges of D. For safety rating, there you go, Dutch. That's the one. 2 Britishmen and a Dutchman. So that will be it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I do appreciate it. If you did enjoy it, please give me a like and click subscribe. Don't forget that you can head over to my main channel as well, which is more political and current affairs stuff and less gaming and a very different art style. So if you're curious, go and have a look. But for now, people, thank you very much for your time. Take it easy and stay safe.